So we had to change with the time, with the evolution of those services and the way we offer it, to present it in a proper manner through the branding so it's consistent and people get the message.
All right, well, you said you rebranded like 5 to 6 times.
I don't know. It's like maybe 3 times.
The soapbox has only been open for like 6 years.
Okay, so we average one rebranding every 2 years.
So you said you talked about being consistent. At what point is it really consistency, and at what point
We're consistently growing.
is it just lack of commitment? And we're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
What's up, Mumbles? I see you over there moving your mouth.
I'm practicing for my opening part. Come on, let's go. What are we talking about?
Today we're talking, okay, so we're going to talk about something that's happened in the news. I don't know if you're really a fan of some of these social media platforms. We're not going to say a name, but one of the major social media platforms recently announced that in efforts to rebrand itself, it was changing its name.
First of all, you're going to say you're not saying any names, like you're trying to keep something anonymous or not like put
I'm not trying to say it anonymous. They
as soon
just
as you
don't
say
need,
they changing their name, like
people know who it is. We don't need to
about.
say their name, no.
Okay.
But part of it is due to bad press that they've received because of the impact that their platform is known to have, particularly on young people. And additionally, because the corporation and the leadership wants to go in a different direction. Nonetheless, I don't know how well the new branding will be received by the public. So today, what happened?
This dude gonna tell me to do one thing and then sends me an email today saying something totally different. Then was on the phone with me. Yes, bro, I'm getting out of client service business. What were you saying? This is, I'm gonna sell soap or something online so I can help people through texts and DMs. This is crazy. What the? Anyway, like I'm making widgets. Like I'm looking for a new business. This is.
If you don't learn how to deal with clients, there's no business that you can work in.
Wait, dealing with clients is one thing. Dealing with someone who's bat crazy is a totally another thing. You can't tell me today you want me to paint the room orange. I show up with the orange paint and then you're like, wait a minute, no, make it green. I'm like, okay, cool. You get one revision, you get one change.
Keep cursing?
And then the next time I go and get the blue paint because you say you wanted blue when you tell me to change it or whatever color I just said. Orange. And then I show back later on and you're like, why you got that blue paint? What the?
This is a message for you because he's not going to get the message. The message is if you're in business and you make money from selling to clients, you have to understand client management. I'm not saying that the client is always right.
I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm like, you can't manage something that somebody don't know what they're doing. It's not about client management. It's
That's
about
not true.
If the client don't know what they want or what direction they're going in, that's nothing to manage.
There is something to manage. That's where you manage client expectations.
If you hire a contractor and you tell a contractor, hey, I want you to knock this wall down and paint these walls a certain color and extend the bathroom. And the contractor's like, okay, no problem, blah, 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 blah. And then you go back later on and tell the contractor, you know what? Nah, I changed my mind. I want the bathroom smaller. After they done drew up the blueprints and everything, got everything approved, and he's like, okay, no problem. I'll make the changes and charge you. And you're like, okay, no problem. And then you text him or email him later on and be like, you know what? Make the bathroom medium instead of smaller. And he's like, okay, we'll make the changes. And then he shows up to do the work and you're like, you know what? Nah, make it big again. The client don't have a clear direction.
Okay, but the message is not for the client. The message is for you.
And maybe
listen,
it's
can
not
you not
managing,
cut me off?
It's not managing them. It's not working with someone who's a client that doesn't have a clear expectation that match what you're doing.
Well, that's what you do at the soapbox. That's not what we're going to do here, okay?
Okay.
Good. That's not what we're going to do.
Good.
So the lesson is for you. You have to figure out how to manage the client. And
you can't manage someone that can't manage themselves.
No, it's not you. It's you're not willing to manage. You're not willing to have the conversation.
Dude, if someone types you an email and
stop cutting me off.
Go ahead. If they go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. And you're still talking.
Go ahead.
You still talking.
Go ahead. Go. The light is green. Go. You burning up film. Go. We only got 29 minutes.
It's not film. It's an SD card.
You're burning up memory.
So we can buy more memory. The message is for you. The lesson is for you. You're always going to get clients who may not communicate the way that you communicate. You're always going to have clients that may have different expectations than you have. The key is, if you're a person in business and you have to deal with that client, then you have to figure out how to manage that client relationship. You have to figure out how to manage the client expectation. And the client may flip-flop. The client may change their mind. The client may get upset. You might get upset. But to me, if you sit up here talking about the client is wrong, you're missing the opportunity. It's not that the client is wrong. I'm not agreeing with the client.
I didn't say the client was wrong. I said they have no clue.
Right. And that's where, as a service provider, you have the opportunity to help the client get a clue. And if you say, I'm not going to call them, I'm not going to meet with them.
I didn't say that. I just said I'm saying based on the message I received after having a thorough phone conversation, they have no clue. And here's the real part. When you're working with a client who has who doesn't have a good grasp on what they're doing, and you're providing them with a product or a service that will service their needs or solve their problem, and they're not acknowledging or in tune with what goes on, that's when it's a real challenge, because they're not in tune with what's going on.
So what are you doing to get them in tune? You're not. You're not doing anything to get them in tune with what's going on.
Did I not have a phone conversation with them and clearly and say, hey, is this exactly what you want?
That's not the same thing.
What's that?
That's not the same thing as getting in tune with how things work.
I asked them clearly, what would you like? And it's this, this, and this. You want this ingredients, you want this, and you want it at this time. Yes.
No.
They say yes. I got the phone call recorded. You know the thing comes on? All calls are monitored for quality assurance here at Johnson Security. Please be mindful of that. It's on SD card.
If you don't ask the right questions, you're not going to get the right information.
Wait,
so if you're just saying, oh, is this it? Then that's
no. If they say to you, I want this, and then you follow up to ask them, is this how you want that?
That's not helping them to understand how things work. A better example, which it doesn't sound like you did, would be like, hi, client, I understand you have this need. Now, what you may not understand is, from a vendor perspective, this is what it will take to provide that need. So if you tell me it's this, that means this for our team. If it's something else, then help me understand what that something else is going to be. And if you're not in dialogue and it's kind of one way, or you're just asking a question to kind of check the box, because that's what it sounded like you said, like you're just asking a question for agreement and not really asking a question for understanding. Well,
that's not the question I asked them.
Well, okay, what question did you ask?
So I'll give you the equivalent. At the soap box, you drop your blazer off and say, I want it Tuesday at 3 p.m. cleaned. And we say, okay, no problem. And then I call you back to say, just want to confirm, you dropped this off on Monday. You want it back Tuesday at 3 p.m. And you say, no, not 3 p.m., 6 p.m. So I was like, okay.
That's different. That's a clarifying question.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about in this scenario.
No,
you're
that's
talking
not
about
what
something different.
That's not what you said. You're going to try to repurpose it and paint it a different color. You're trying to paint it from orange to blue for Commerce and
I'm not trying to paint it from orange to blue.
But I don't think you realize that you gave up your authority with that client when you just said, okay, is this what you want? As opposed to asking a more probing, clarifying question.
That's not what I asked on them. That's not what I asked on the conversation.
I'm just going off what you just said, because I wasn't on a phone conversation with you.
You were in the room with me.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Because you were on the phone all day yesterday.
I was.
So how
but I asked them specifically. I received a message saying this is what we want, and then I spoke to them on the phone to clarify, to say, is it this, this, and this? They said yes. You're just asking for agreement. You're not clarifying anything. No. How is that not clarification? They send me a message saying this is what we're asking for, and I call them to say, I want to confirm that
That's not clarification. That's just confirmation.
Wait, if you let me finish, I'm calling to confirm that you're asking for this and this. And then they said, no, it's really this and this. So I was like, okay, so let me understand. When you say this, it really means that for you and everyone in your team. And they're like, yes. So I was like, okay, so to clarify, we're going to do X, Y, and Z at this day and this time. They say yes.
Just
no
because
problem.
you put clarify in the sentence doesn't mean that you're clarifying. Because all you were
I
doing
get
was
an
just
email
confirming.
that is the opposite of what we talked about yesterday.
Right. And so if you don't want to be frustrated, hear the lesson. Because apparently he's not trying to hear the lesson.
Sell soap, sell phones. Just sell digital products.
Come up with questions.
Be a business coach.
That will really get at the heart of what you need, of the information and the resources
be a
that you need.
motivational
Because
speaker.
this dude here, he didn't do that, and now he's mad at the client.
I'm not
where
mad
you
at
need
them.
to be mad at yourself.
I'm
you
so-
talking about, I'm
not
not
mad
gonna go
at-
sell soap. I'm not gonna be in the client management business. Oh, he don't know what he's doing. Like it's never good to be in an adversarial situation.
Oh,
with
it's
the
not
client.
adversarial. I'm just, when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, how you doing?
You playing yourself, son. You really playing
I
yourself
don't
right
talk
now.
to them like that. I just talk mad smack behind the scenes. When I get on the phone with them and be like, hey, what's up?
So just know
but in
that-
my head, I'm like,
Just know that
which way this going to go?
the universe respects that. The universe respects that.
The universe respects what?
The universe respects when you talk about your clients.
I'm not talking about them. So let's make it clear. Do not paint the picture on Commerce and Chill that I'm sitting here saying, oh, our clients is this or they bad.
I'm
or they
just
don't know
saying
this.
what you said. In my head, I'm thinking, like, there's no benefit
let me
to
tell you what I'm
thinking
thinking.
that. There's no benefit to thinking that.
What I'm thinking in my head is when they say something or we have a call, I'm like, this is what they're going to say and this is where it's going to go.
No, this is
And
the
9 out
same
of
dude
10
that don't
times,
say nothing
it
on the
goes
call.
there.
He don't say nothing on the call and then be like, Johnson, say this. And then be mad when he don't get what he want.
Facts.
Because he don't
Facts.
ask the question.
100%
You didn't ask the question right. Well, I asked what you said. So don't be mad.
No, you asked.
And then he'd be like,
you asked your way.
Wait, no.
You didn't get clarification from me on how I wanted the question asked. So now you didn't, just because you say clarification, you got to use clarification.
I'm not clarifying Jack for you.
But
That's your opportunity.
You got to ask me how I want the question
No,
done.
I don't.
You got to ask probing questions.
because you have the
gotta
opportunity
get
to
clarification
ask
like you
yourself.
told me to ask the client.
You're
So
not my client, son.
You got to get clarification.
I don't have to get clarification on nothing because you have a mouth and you can speak for yourself. So if you
You're the
can't,
lead person, so I'll let you
No.
take the lead on that with that
you try
client.
to throw me under the bus all the time.
No, I just
all
handcuff
the
you.
time.
I handcuff you to the bumper, not throw you under the
You be
bus.
like,
if you handcuff to the bumper,
And
you
you
can't
don't
get
want to
dragged
ask.
underneath.
You don't
just
want
get
to ask
dragged
the hard
behind it.
questions, and then you put me in a position where I have to ask the questions, and so then you get mad and you don't like. So that's a coping mechanism for you, but that's a cop out, son.
That's a
cop-out,
It's a
son. You
cope
can't
out,
win
which
that
is a
way.
coping mechanism for
And
me.
C stands for contradiction. The C in cope
And
stands
let's
for
add
contradiction.
2 more. You just said cop out, and what was the other one? Coping.
Repeat after me. Get it in writing. Get it in writing. This should be your mantra. So sometimes it's hard to have any confusion when it's in writing. Number 2, remember contracts protect you and both you and your client. Contracts prevent misunderstandings. Contracts specify what rights the client is purchasing and what rights you retain. Contracts stipulate the payment process. Contracts are legally binding. So say it again with me. Get it in writing. And if the writing isn't clear, ask probing questions, not clarifying questions, not coping questions, but probing questions. Anyway, that's not what we were supposed to be talking about today. We were supposed to be talking about how to rebrand and how rebranding is a marketing strategy where you might get a new name, a new team, a new term, a new symbol, a new design or concept for an established brand with the intention of developing new differentiated identity in the minds of consumers, investors, competitors, and other stakeholders. So we're going to pray over Waleed that we can rebrand.
What is this, the exorcism? You gonna
Yes.
pray on me? You putting your hands on me? Like, what is this?
We're going to pray
You got some holy water over there too?
to rebrand his image of how it is to deal with clients. Because if you in your mind have a negative connotation about dealing with clients, it will come across in how you do business and it will limit your growth and your success. So I challenge you to rebrand how you look at dealing with clients, especially difficult clients. Anyway, so we were talking about that big brand social media platform that's in the process of rebranding. Again, they don't need our support. So, Cope, have you had to rebrand at the Soapbox?
Probably whatever, I don't know, five times. We're freaking trying to figure it out again. But yeah, we have.
See, as I said, the C in Cope stands for contradiction, not for consistency. Why do you keep rebranding, son?
Wait, why do we keep rebranding?
Yeah.
We rebranded because we had changed the model. So the branding came with changing the model. We went from doing laundry to doing laundry and dry cleaning to doing laundry and dry cleaning, now to doing laundry, dry cleaning, and sneaker. Huh? Like we had to change some of the branding because now we're adding additional service lines. So now we're reaching to a different type of consumer. It's a different look. It's a different places we're going to go online. We need to make the website look different to it appeals to the 3 levels of services that we do, to the different demographics that we target, that we service. I shouldn't even say target, that we service. We had to rebrand because we went from using one type of service where you had strictly on the app, now where you can order directly through our website, and then we have on-demand service. So we had to change with the time, with the evolution of those services and the way we offer it, to present it in a proper manner through the branding so it's consistent and people get the message.
All right. Well, you said you rebranded like 5 to 6 times.
I don't know. It's like maybe 3 times.
The Soapbox has only been open for like 6 years.
Okay, so we average one rebranding every 2 years.
So you said you talked about being consistent. At what point is it really consistency, and at what point
we're consistently growing?
Is it just lack of commitment?
No, it's not like a commitment. Wait, we do laundry and then we say people come in and say, hey, you should do dry cleaning. So we extend the service line because that fits into our wheelhouse of what we do. So we offer dry cleaning.
Right, but just because you extend a service or product line doesn't necessarily mean that you have to rebrand.
Well, we had to, whether we want to call it rebranding or adjust the brand, there had to be some changes in it to promote, to add that service to what we do and how we present it. And then we came and started doing sneakers. I don't know, like a year and a half ago, give or take. Mm-hmm. So that falls like around that, like every 2 years. So far, we've added these different services that has us where we are now, where our core service and business are these 3 things: laundry, dry cleaning, and sneaker cleaning. So we can service your wardrobe from top to bottom, your feet, your legs, and your top.
So what benefits came from your rebranding efforts?
One, we were able to reach, well, when you say rebranding, like from the customer perspective, or you just mean from the business perspective?
From whatever perspective.
So what were the advantages? We were able to we got wider audience now because we're reaching to different reaching to different markets and different people in different areas.
Okay.
For different services.
Okay.
Have you rebranded Johnson Security?
We did, but we don't rebrand as often here. I mean, I think one of the things you're famous for saying is we're going with a different model. Like, I'm reading this book called The Millionaire Master Plan, and the author talks about different mindsets, different geniuses, right? Mm-hmm. And so he talks about the Blaze genius and the something genius and the other genius. And like, I think we're different kinds of geniuses. Well, the book says that, but we have like a dominant kind of genius and then a side kind of genius, but that's another story. So I think your genius is different from my genius, but your genius is motivated by the prospect of innovating and change, but not necessarily with with consistency. And so I think that we have to be careful when we're talking about a brand. A brand is one thing, but the brand elements are different. And so you might switch up the marketing tools, the marketing strategy, but that doesn't mean that you completely rebrand. Whatever you do, be memorable, right? You can't be anyone else. You can't be Chick-fil-A. You can't be McDonald's. If you have a food services business, do you well so that when people purchase from you, they will not forget what they purchased, nor will they forget the experience. And you can only do that by trying to be the best you that you can be and doing it in a memorable way. We're going into our 60th year. And so over time, we've had different logos, we've had different color schemes, we've had different brands. And in 2011, we were the recipients of a grant from the Economic Development Agency under the U.S. Department of Commerce, which we were specifically able to use to grow the business. So that included coaching. So our Uncle Mike Blumenfeld, shout out to Mike, we met him and worked with him as a result of that grant. And then we also received monies for rebranding. So we worked with a company called Bureau Blank, who helped us to review our logo and to come up with something that really represented where we were at that time and where we were going. Because if you look at most security companies, you'll see they incorporate a logo that may have a guard standing in a hard position or a lock and a key, right? And it's so passe because everybody kind of has the same kind of themes. And so Bureau Blank took us through an exercise of what we wanted to be, what were our values, what were keywords that demonstrated who we were to our employees, to our clients, and to our community. And we came up with the current logo that we have, which is kind of like the soccer ball, which is derived from, like, think of an armadillo and how an armadillo, when it goes to protect itself, it balls up and it has this hard outer shell. But if you look within our logo, they're like chain links, as in a chain link fence, and there's smaller shields within the chain links. And then it's red and black, incorporating the colors that are colors of power, colors of strength, and then different variations on the lettering, whether we use the name, the whole name, the monogram. And so it was a very extensive process that we went through with Bureau Blank. And in going through that rebranding process, Bureau Blank also provided us with brand guidelines. So which colors we would use when we put something together, when we send out marketing material, when we send out correspondence. They created stationery for us. But when you're in certain different, what typesets work best, what background colors, what complementary colors. And I know that in some small businesses, especially if you don't have a team, you tend to do things on your own, create things on your own. You might not have time to learn what's some of the software you all use, you might not even know Canva. Canva's very basic. You might not even know Canva. But if you have the opportunity to work with a design student or someone who has a design background that's willing to work with you on a pro bono basis, develop a logo that speaks to where you're going, incorporates your values, and also speaks to how your clients, your community see you. And then have guidelines or standards as to how those brand elements should be used. So for example, and this may not be a good example, but like with my sorority, we have brand guidelines, and there's some materials, some merchandise that we wouldn't want our logo to be placed upon. So like with Johnson Security, I don't know if I want the Johnson Security logo on somebody's running shorts, right? I don't think that that's appropriate. That doesn't really speak to who we are as a brand. And so you want to do the same thing for your brand. And so I appreciate the team at Bureau Blank, and we still rocking out with that branding. Now, granted, we have changed a few things. We use different elements now that we didn't have in the past. We weren't really rocking out social media. We had a website, but we've updated our website. And so wherever you are in your small business journey, your entrepreneurial journey, if you're thinking about rebranding, here's some of the things that you can think about.
Oh, no, you got this. You crushing this. I'm just here for the ride. I'm going to make notes because the soapbox we need to get our branding game up. We are not as fancy as Johnson Security with Bureau Blank. We just were like, here's the name, here's some type font, and we got a circle with some water in it and some bubbles, and we're like, go clean some clothes. Where you got the whole story, the shield, the chain link fence. Like, we need to totally go rebrand the soapbox. I need to hire an agency. Hey, if you're out there, you're up for rebranding the soapbox, reach out to us. We need help.
Well, here's the thing. We've had people come and volunteer.
We need a better story.
Did we really have some people come and volunteer to help us with our branding at the soapbox? Didn't somebody reach out to you?
I don't recall. No.
Yeah.
No, maybe. I don't recall, but we haven't used anybody. We just put it out there for some designers to design the logo, and we were like on the side.
Oh, we went to Fiverr. right? Because I mean,
99 designs.
but
We're
the
just
first the first logo
like
we were
we're in
just Koch
business.
brothers
Oh,
with the washing machine.
that was, I think I did, that was maybe on Fiverr. But they just did the logo. It wasn't like a whole branding thing like you did with JSB and Puro Play.
But we started where we were. We started with what we had. We started with the budget that we had.
Oh yeah,
And
but you
we
got
went,
the grant.
We
and
went
all
to
this.
Fiverr. What I'm talking
Oh, you
about?
talking about the store?
The Soap Box.
Oh no, I was like,
we
I need
started
a
with we
I was
started
like, here's
at
a logo.
Fiverr and got a logo, and we got some banners, and we made some. Waleed designed some print cards,
Oh yeah,
and then as soon as he sent them to print, he was like, "I hate these,"
that's all right. It worked.
and he's like, "Oh, I hate this printer."
It wasn't good. Like, I'm sorry, but like, it's a different process when you're doing it that way versus you hire a firm who specializes in that versus you trying to get the car started because you just got to hurry up and get out the driveway
But
to
you
get to
still,
work.
even
You
if
don't
you're
got time to wait
small,
for AAA.
you still have to evolve. And so when we we went from just being Koch brothers and sons to being the Soapbox, we even went through ideation to come up with names. That was part of the rebranding.
Yeah, but we didn't bring in, we didn't bring anybody from the outside in.
An outsider, but we did it ourselves. We actually took Post-its.
Yeah.
And we free flowed with names. And
Careful with that free flow around here. Don't use that in the office. You can't be freestyling around here.
I didn't say
much.
freestyle.
I said be careful. It was close to freestyle.
We ideated. And so what we did was we each took like 2 minutes and wrote down different names of what we thought the business was going to look like. And this is when we made the transition from just a standalone self-service laundromat to the retail store, the storefront
To the drop off,
where we
right,
did
to just
pick
do
up,
service.
drop off. And so we came up with names and we put all the names up on the wall.
And they sat there for.
And then some of the names fell down. So when the
and this
names
is over
that fell
a period
down,
of time, like maybe a month or so.
we knew that if the name fell down, it probably wasn't a good name. And then we had one that was kind of right in the middle. It was like the Soapbox. We rocks with that.
Yeah, to this day, it's the Soapbox.
Yeah.
Soon to get rebranded again to just be Soapbox.
And
Somebody said we should drop the.
And we also spoke to an intellectual property attorney about managing the intellectual property around the brand.
Clearly,
so that's something else you might want to
Clearly,
consider.
you watched the Facebook movie too many times.
No problem.
You should drop the.
But nonetheless, if you have a business and you have a brand, or you haven't realized what your brand is and you think you need to go through the exercise of rebranding your business or rebranding yourself, these are some considerations. Chief, you want to?
Oh, sure. Let me get ready here for the official. You should start by understanding your mission, vision, and values. 2, have a complete rebranding strategy that works with your existing brand. 3, consider your audience, the market, and your competition. 4, collaborate with your team. You brought that up earlier. Look at you. 5, rename your business. Damn, that's a tough one. 6, rebuild your brand identity. And 7, manage the rebrand carefully.